Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it's so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Monday edition of the JP Peterson Show. It is Martin Luther King Day, MLK Day. No days off here because we got lots of football to talk about. Tons of football to talk about. Breaking news, Sean McDermott fired as the Bills head coach. What does that have to do with Tampa Bay? We'll tell you. The Lightning have now gone 13 games in a row with a point, having lost in a shootout to St. Louis over the weekend. Boo. But still cranking. So we'll get to some Lightning talk as well today. The national championship game is tonight. Indiana, Miami. Lots to get to there. A lot of great storylines in this game tonight. Good morning to you, Nick Geddes from On3 Sports. How are you, partner? Good weekend?
Yeah, I'm doing great. It was a great weekend. The weather was fantastic. Casey had her baby shower on Saturday, so
I saw the pics. Yeah,
the house is full with clothes and even more clothes and even more clothes on top of that. So many clothes. So yes,
What's
it was
the due date?
February 23rd is the due date. So we are almost a month out. We're almost a month out.
Wow. Are you getting excited or are you freaking out?
I'm ready to go. I think I told her this. I'm excited, and I'm tired of people telling me like, oh, you're excited now. Just wait till it happens. Just let me find out. Just let me be excited right now, and we'll cross that bridge when we get there. That's where I'm at.
Oh my God. Yeah, you're gonna be weirded out by the whole thing. Yeah, you, Mr. Nick Geddes, Mr. Calm, cool, and nothing really breaks you. You'll be broken. You'll be broken. Absolutely, it's fantastic in a good way.
I wouldn't say nothing breaks me. I would not say that.
I would say, and I will tell you this, and this is old school. Instead of go get this book. It's called What to Expect When Expecting. If you don't have it already, I swear to God, every time something popped up. This is back pre-internet, really. Well, not pre-internet, but where you could look up everything on the internet. And you just go to this book, and it had everything in it, and it was our Bible. And we did everything. If this happens, this is what you do. If this happens, it was like so calming to know. Like it's like something would pop up, and like get the book. Yeah. Instead of searching it, you go to what's called the glossary and the table of contents, and you figure the whole thing out. Yeah.
The glossary, that's the thing in the back of the books, right?
The back of the book, right. Any subject matters. It's
gotta be honest. It's been a while since I've looked at a glossary.
Yeah. That was the old search engine. That was your search engine. It worked just fine, by the way. Worked just fine. Not a problem. Oh man, old school. All right, so we'll be getting into a whole bunch of silly stuff, and we'll preview the game with Indiana and Miami. I believe, our good friend Tom Brew, Sports Illustrated Indiana, will join us at 10:30. All right, cool. So we'll get him on to preview. I love it. You know what? I've been kind of falling in love with this Indiana story. Obviously, as an FSU fan, you don't want to fall in love with it, even though there are a lot of these Miami Hurricane players that are, dare I say, likable. There's a lot about this program. It's not the idiots of yesteryear. It's a good group. It's a good group, and they're very talented, and they've done a hell of a job. You got to tip your cap to them, no doubt. But let's just be honest. It's still the freaking Miami Hurricanes. I can't get past this. But I
think I'm just jealous more than anything. I'm actually very jealous.
100%. They figured out the portal. They know how to do it, and we don't. Although Florida State now has like 6 quarterbacks, and they got a commitment over the weekend from like the JUCO National Player of the Year or quarterback, who's very intriguing. But whatever.
It might be better than the guy that they're paying $1 million.
Yeah, exactly. So, but they're in the market of offering the top best quarterback $6 and $7 million a year. We're not actually in that market, and that probably makes a difference. But I will watch tonight's game with absolute incredible interest. I think it's going to be really, really good. So we'll get to that. All right. So I want to start. There's so many places to go, but I want to start like where I think most of you would like us to start, and that's the fact that Sean McDermott of the Buffalo Bills got fired this morning. 9 seasons in Buffalo, 5 AFC East titles, and a 98-50 record, Nick.
Yep.
98-50 in the regular season.
Yep.
All right, 8-8 in the playoffs, 98-50. Obviously, there has been heartbreak. The Buffalo Bills story is one of just absolute misfortune, going back to Scott Norwood right here in Tampa, right? Wide right. 4 straight Super Bowls with Jim Kelly and that bunch. Thurman Thomas couldn't get it done. A lot of misfortune, a lot of bad play, a lot of choking going on. And let's just be honest. Josh Allen did not have his best day. He made some mistakes, no question about it. But they were right there. And he had a couple of opportunities with the 5 turnovers to still win the game. And he made some bad plays. You got to take care of the ball better than he did. That being said, the sustained success of the Buffalo Bills over his time there is irrefutable. And Sean McDermott has been a part of that. And his defense was the issue. And that's a big deal. But again, this guy got fired.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you know that John Harbaugh got fired?
I did.
18 years, 180 and 113. One of the most winningest coaches in the history of the game. 18 seasons, including a Super Bowl win. Got fired. Fired. Mike Tomlin, 201 and 126. 201, I believe the 3rd winningest coach, that active coach. 201 and 126. Mm-hmm. Now, he didn't technically get fired.
No.
Clearly, there was a lot of smoke there that was going to happen. And he just said, you know what, I'll preempt this and save you the trouble.
He was smart enough to understand that it was done. Yeah. It was done.
Yeah. So all those guys no longer have jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy here, 36 and 36, including playoffs. And by the way, I'm not doing revisionist history. Handed a Super Bowl team with Tom Brady. Didn't get to hire his coaches. Great. Would you rather be able to pick your coaches on a 2-win team or be handed a Super Bowl team with Tom Brady? The idea that he didn't get to pick his coaches is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Is it optimal? No. The group just won a Super Bowl. The players and the coaching staff. Minus, obviously, Bruce Arians, who was forced out by Tom Brady. So that situation is what you walked into. You go look at these other situations. Before Sean McDermott got there, the Buffalo Bills went 0 for 16. From 2000 to 2016, didn't win squadoosh, nothing. He gets there, they're winning division championships. This guy's handed a Super Bowl team and has gone 36 and 36. And with an epic collapse in this last season, that was all on the defense. Not all, but mostly on your defense that you run. Rondé Barber, it's too complicated. Not elite coaching. Bad defense. Wouldn't want to play in it. It doesn't have a base defense. And he works for the Buccaneers. Jamel Dean, too complicated. Guys don't know what they're doing. Too many mental mistakes. Yaya Diaby. We don't practice hard enough. Too many walkthroughs. Is there any coach in NFL that has this much baggage that still has an effing job?
Let's not forget Rashad White on Loose Cannons this past week.
Sorry,
straight up telling you that Todd Bowles should not be calling plays on defense.
What are we doing? And again, I love Todd as a human, but what are we doing? What are we doing?
I hate. It's like one of these things where, like, eventually at some point we're gonna have to move on, and we're just gonna have to accept that he's here. And I hate to belabor the point, and I know there's probably some people that are probably thinking, well, he's here now, so let's just move on. But
I know.
Right now, to me, it's still January. It's January 19th. To me, it's still fresh. To me, it's still fresh. And as I continue to watch how this league operates elsewhere, it just continues to like make my blood boil even more that the Bucs are still signing up to do this. Like the Bills, like you said, they had no success pre-Sean McDermott. Now, let's be honest. A lot of this, when you land an absolute unicorn like Josh Allen, that helps. And I think the Bills are making a big mistake by firing Sean McDermott and retaining the general manager, Brandon Beane, because I think a lot of the issues on Buffalo is the way their roster is constructed. And that's got nothing to do with Sean McDermott. That's all Brandon Beane. That's a side note. But point being, Buffalo, two conference championship games, close losses to the Chiefs, couldn't get over the hump. This year was actually the worst team that Buffalo, I think, has trotted out probably in the Sean McDermott era. And it was basically Josh Allen, James Cook, we need special. And the second that they couldn't provide, or at least Josh Allen couldn't provide a little bit of special in that playoff game, McDermott's got to go. Did he deserve it? Deserve's got nothing to do with it in this business. It's results-oriented. Did John Harbaugh deserve to get fired after 18 seasons with all of his cachet and Super Bowls and his 180 wins? I don't know. But deserve's got nothing to do with it. And these owners and these teams, they recognize that. And I almost like compare it to, I make like a soccer comparison all the time. For those who don't follow soccer, sacking the manager, as you call it. The amount of turnover in soccer at the manager coaching position, it's insane. And I give you an example. Everybody knows the great Real Madrid. If you don't know soccer, you probably know what Real Madrid is. It's the greatest club probably that's ever stepped foot on the face of the earth. They hired a manager in the summer named Xabi Alonso. Xabi Alonso coming into the Madrid job was like supposed to be the next great coach that was going to take Madrid to the heights, back to what they've been, all that stuff. They are second in their league that they play in. They are second, like 3 or 4 points out from the top of the table halfway through the season. He was fired last week.
Sacked.
6 months.
6 months.
Okay? I almost feel like I operate in my brain, maybe not 6 months. Maybe that's a little too early. But that's kind of how my brain sort of operates, that if it's not working, if it feels like it's not going well or something's off, or you have even a longer sort of track record of it not getting done, just pull the plug. Just pull the plug. Everybody here is making money hand over fist in this business. You don't have to worry about buyouts or any of this other nonsense. You'll recoup the money, trust me. Just pull the plug. And the Bucs had the opportunity to do that. And by not doing that, you're in a coaching market that is pretty flawed, because all these coaches basically have a lot of big questions for them, and there's a lot of big jobs that are open now. I mean, the last 2 MVPs don't have a head coach now. The Eagles don't have an OC. The Lions don't have an OC. The Chargers don't have an OC. And as we stand here today, the Bills and the Ravens don't have an OC. Now you're in a big-time competition to get an offensive play caller in the building, dealing with those other openings that are just as good, if not better, than what you have now.
Yeah.
That's what you've done here. So let's see how that works out.
Well, you have a little nugget this morning for the fans, I think, that they'll love. And here's where actually the mediocrity of the head coach might work in your favor.
This is the flip side of this. This is from Albert Breer, does a great the Monday morning quarterback column. Highly recommend. Yes. Great stuff.
Must read. Yeah.
Very plugged in. And he had a note this morning. He said, Mike McDaniel has made the rounds, and if I had to guess, he'll probably wind up as an offensive coordinator in the next week or so. I've heard Tampa Bay could be a good spot for him, and that if he does a good job, he could be set up to be Todd Bowles' eventual successor.
Hallelujah. And this, obviously, I'm not a huge Mike McDaniel fan. I'm not. But at this point, I welcome change. And I haven't really dug into, what I haven't really dug into the details about his coaching. I need to talk to some people that have worked with him. I have talked to some people, talked to someone who's dated him many years ago. So that was eye-opening, very eye-opening. He was a much different dude many, many years ago. But old habits die hard. So he's an interesting cat. And at this point, I would die for a Mike McDaniel-led offense. An experienced play caller who's done it, has a lot of creativity in the run game. We know this. And he feels a lot like Liam Cohen. Feels a lot like Liam Cohen with experience, with play calling experience. And, the reason he got the job in Miami was because of, the pedigree, Shanahan, all that. He's got that. He's got that. So, and if you go back 4 years before he got the Dolphins job and look at his pedigree as far as an offensive coordinator, it's damn good. It's damn good. So you like all of that stuff coming in. And it's just better than what we got right now. I mean, that's the biggest thing is like, I just, again, love Todd, great dude, super great dude. But all the stuff that we've learned over the past month, a lot of stuff that was inside the building that has gotten outside the building, none of it is in Bowles' favor. And it almost feels like there's a, and I've seen this before within organizations where the players, some people in the administration, they can't come out publicly and say it. So they start leaking it out. It starts coming out. It finds its way to the JP Petersons, the Rick Strouds, the Ira Kaufmans. It finds its way out. And that is not by accident, because there's a lot of politics that are involved, clearly, especially in this situation in Tampa Bay. You've got multiple different owners. It's not just one voice. And I'm pretty confident in saying that there's not 100% unification behind this strategy of keeping Todd Bowles. I think there are some within the ownership group that would like a change or certainly have spoken up for change, kick the tires on John Harbaugh. And we find out the whole, he wants his own GM thing wasn't exactly true. So there's a lot of smoke here. And maybe it is, even though John Gruden was fired 19 days after, Lovie Smith was, there was some time that went by after the season. There's still a lot of things that can be done. We still haven't heard from the Glazers officially. We haven't heard any statement. And I understand, look, it's a 99.9% chance that Todd Bowles is coming back. But stranger things have happened. So who knows? But I'm just here to say that given what is out there in the NFL landscape right now, the fact that Todd Bowles still has a job is crazy to me. Absolutely bananas. And, in terms of the guy has been given ample opportunity to show what he can do. 8 years as a head coach. And it's well below the records that we've taught. 36 and 36 here. I think 63 and 71 overall when you throw in the Jet stuff. Bad. Under 500, mediocre. Way worse than any of these guys that are getting fired.
Yep. But we have to operate. He is the head coach. We have to operate like that. And so
you are correct.
It's all about the offensive coordinator hire. And I keep saying it's the most important hire you can make in your organization after GM is who's going to be calling plays on offense. That's just where the league is going. And, McDaniel, to me, like, of the group that's out there, I think would we all agree that's the home run of the group that's out there right now? Because, I mean, I know I see a lot of people saying, what has he done? What is this? I mean, listen, Miami 2 years ago, 2023, had the number one offense in football. Number one. He crafted a number one offense in football, and his quarterback was Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
What he does in the run game, he's probably, in terms of play callers and the stuff they do in the run game and the schemes he puts together there, he's probably like 1A, 1B up there with whoever.
Yeah.
He's that good. The passing game will come along too. He's probably going to be very motivated to get the stink out of what the last 2 years sort of caused his reputation to hit a little bit. Yeah. So that's why I like it as well. He's young. I was almost going to say he's got this energy to him, but based on what I saw from him as a head coach, it's a little, he's, like I said, he wouldn't be like my ideal head coach candidate. If
he's
I was
quirky.
From a big
he's
pool.
Really quirky.
He's a little quirky, but under this setting, I just need him to call plays. That's all I need him to do. And in terms of all the other options of who the Bucs have interviewed so far, none of the other names, they don't move me. They just don't. I'm not moved by, like, Zach Robinson is the name that has had probably the most associated around it right now with the Buccaneers.
Right.
is Zach Robinson qualified to be an offensive coordinator in the league? The answer to that question is yes. He's qualified.
Yeah.
Does it move the needle that much for me? Not really, if I'm being completely honest with you. In fact, I don't really know, like, at that point, if you're hiring Zach Robinson, I don't know if this is a hot take or not, is that really much better than just running it back with Josh Grizzard and seeing what he could do with a healthy O-line and, maybe a little better injury luck?
Yeah. They're essentially the same pedigree, except Zach.
That's kind of how I felt. That's kind of how I feel about Zach Robinson. That's just me. Whereas McDaniel feels like something entirely different, and you're dipping into the Shanahan tree, which is never a bad idea.
And obviously Zach is from the McVay tree, which is never a bad idea.
No, it's true.
No, and he, Bijan Robinson, I think, led the league in yards from scrimmage. I mean, is that coordinating or is that a phenomenal talent? It's probably a little bit of both, right? You had a dysfunctional quarterback situation in Atlanta with Penix getting injured and just the drafting of Penix and Kirk Cousins. So I don't think it was the easiest situation for him to work from. Do I think he would be competent, in Tampa? Yeah. Yeah. To your point, is he qualified? Yeah. Has he got some good pedigree? Yes. Does he call plays? Yes. Does he know the division? Yes. I think there's some positivity there. I don't think, we could trash everybody because if they haven't won a Super Bowl, hell, guys that even get Super Bowls get trashed, right? But, I would prefer McDaniel. Absolutely. After that, I think Zach's probably the best of the group that we've interviewed.
Yeah, and like the other guy,
Todd Monken, who I think is going to go.
He's probably just going to follow.
With Harbaugh,
yeah,
right?
He's probably going to go with Harbaugh. I would think at this.
I would go. Monken first would be my first pick. Then I would go Mike McDaniel, and I think Zach Robinson.
Well, I am also in that camp of I know he hasn't called plays at this level, but everything you hear about him, everybody says he screams future head coach, and that's Shieldhouse in Los Angeles. The issue with Shieldhouse is that has to be more dragged out because he can't interview until I think like the 26th.
And he's never called plays before.
And also Shieldhouse, he can't interview for a lateral job, I think it is, until the 26th, right, because he would have to go OC to OC. But he can interview for head coaching opportunities, and that's why you're seeing Nate Shieldhouse has been interviewing only for head coaching jobs right now. So competition for him is very stiff, but it's the same thing with McDaniel because McDaniels has been interviewing for all these head coaching openings as well. And now that Buffalo's open, does Buffalo like that too? Do they want to
with all
McDaniel?
With all the openings, doesn't it feel like Shieldhouse is going to get one? Just because
if I were a team, I would take a chance on him because I'd rather be early than late on a guy. Yeah. I'd rather be early than late.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So I wanted to start with that, get that rolling here a little bit, and see what you guys have to say about it. A great point here by Nathan Elliott. Mike Vrabel is the longest tenured AFC East coach today. Bella says that throw that was done by Caleb Williams. Wow. That was absolute. There were so many insane plays this weekend, and we can get into some of that. It just bizarre. That was, he's running backwards, and I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then the ball, and then Kmet, to his, credit, gets a nice little push off, very professionally done, and gets wide open and catches the ball. And by the way, I go for two there. They're on the ropes. Although they had not been good in real short yardage, like the Bears had not been good in short yardage in this game until they let Caleb Williams run the sneak. But I thought their red zone calls were awful. They never gave Caleb, a chance to run out, to sprint out and either run or pass. It was all these handoffs right up the middle to Swift. And I was like, what are you doing? How about some creativity in that offense? The Bears, they had every opportunity to win that game.
The Bears and the Panthers have got to be kicking themselves because they got Matthew Stafford at his lowest in 2 back-to-back games. You got McVay and Stafford. First of all, this game against Chicago is probably one of the more just befuddling.
That's the best opportunity you're going to have to advance with that weather and that situation.
Yeah.
That field. I mean, that's 14 to 18 points with the Rams. They're playing indoors. They're running. Matthew Stafford's not missing that many passes. They're not dropping that many passes. It's a freaking. They're executing to perfection. You had a great opportunity, and you.
And I didn't, but I don't like in overtime though when Caleb Williams threw that interception. I mean, it looked to me like that's DJ Moore. The effort.
That was a weak ass effort. Yeah,
the veteran receiver like that wants to be a number one receiver, has been that in his career, and to show that kind of effort in that moment.
He quit on the play.
Yeah, a lot of drops too. Roma Dunze can't catch the football. There were a lot of things that went against the Bears in that game that had kind of been going their way all season long. But yeah, that's a missed opportunity when you get Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay off their game as they were yesterday. In that weather, that environment, that place was absolutely rocking from kickoff in Chicago. It's like you almost forgot what it's like when the Bears are good. You don't even know what that's like. But they let them off the hook. You let them off the hook, and now you get the rematch, the third game of the year between the Rams and Seattle, which I don't think anybody's going to complain about that because the first 2 times those 2 teams have played each other, those games have been phenomenal.
Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, we're going to get to the Rays. We're going to get to the Lightning. We're going to get to all that stuff, but we're going to take a quick break here, come back. Tom Brew's going to join us, covers Indiana. So many great stories from Mendoza to Cignetti to so many of the players on this team. We'll get all of that with this incredible underdog story. So we'll get into that, and then as I promised, we'll get to all your comments on – I got lots of Rays stuff to get to, some interesting happenings over the weekend. So we'll do that as well. Hey, we're brought to you by the great folks at Genesis. Drive, and they'll 10x your entries for that gas card. Also making incredible deals on the best cars on the road, in my opinion. If you're looking for a luxury SUV or sedan, go drive these cars, then look at the value. You will be astounded at the deals you can make for these incredible cars. The GV70, the GV80, the sedans, the coupe, absolutely phenomenal. Go check it out. Genesis of Tampa, 801 East Bears Avenue. Tell them JP sent you. Back in 3 with Tom Bruce. Stay with us.
Experience the art of driving at Genesis of Tampa, where luxury meets innovation and every detail is crafted for you. From the bold G70 to the refined GV80, Genesis delivers power, elegance, and technology years ahead of its time. Book service online, and our Genesis Experience advisors will pick you up and drop off your vehicle. If available, you can enjoy a courtesy car while yours gets a complimentary interior vacuum plus a generous offer for your trade. Every new Genesis comes with the Miracle Advantage Plan, 10 years or 250,000 miles of powertrain warranty and 4 years of complimentary maintenance. Visit us at 801 East Bears Avenue or online at genesisoftampa.com. Genesis of Tampa, luxury redefined. Italiano Insurance would like to congratulate the Bucs on their 50th anniversary season. And you know what? We've been here for every season and then some, over 60 years in business. We've seen some smart coaches with great game plans, but if you don't have flood insurance or business insurance, that's a terrible game plan. That could ruin you financially. You don't want to take that L. So call 813-877-7799 and let their friendly agents quarterback your insurance and save you big money. Italiano also sponsors our FSU report every week, so go Noles. 813-877-7799 or go to italianoinsurance.com.
Sports fans, it's time to gear up. Head to fanstreamsports.com and check out our brand new merchandise store. We're talking bold t-shirts, 3/4 zips, hoodies, hats, mugs, and more. Everything you need to rep your favorite shows and your favorite crew. Whether you're rolling with the JP Peterson Show in Tampa Bay, From the Rough in Dallas, the Tim May Show featuring Clay Hall, or the Jeff Thidoff Show in Ohio, or any of our FanStream Sports original programming, we've got the perfect look for game day and every day. So don't wait. fanstreamsports.com. Click merch and grab your gear now. Wear the stream, live the stream, fanstreamsports.com.
JP here for Riveters, the official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. We're located just south of Ray J and Steinbrenner Field, so it's a great pre- and post-game spot, and the happy hour is amazing. Monday through Friday, 3 to 7. Check out these specials. $3 Bud Light drafts, $4 domestic bottles, $5 wells, $6 premium wells, $6 cocktails like margaritas. That's unheard of. And the Riveters food is freshly made daily. No freezers. Happy hour food specials include $3.50 tacos and barbecue sliders. $6 you get edamame or chips with the beer cheese, which is amazing. $8 buffalo chicken dip, my favorite. The truffle fries, chili cheese fries, also $8 at happy hour. As well as other specials throughout the week, including Taco Tuesdays, you get $3 tacos, and Wing Wednesdays, 7 o'clock to 1 a.m. in the morning, you get our amazing wings, 5 for $5 and $5 wells and wines. That's a good Wednesday night. So if you're tired of the preppy, overpriced, generic sports bars, come see the amazing, friendly bartenders and staff at Riveters, where customer service really matters. Riveters, just south of where the Rays and Bucs play. We'll see you there. Hey, kick off the new year by impressing her with a real diamond, a natural diamond, from Golden Diamond Source. Don't start with a fake diamond, guys. That's a really, really bad idea. And if you're ready to pop the question, find the perfect engagement ring at the Golden Diamond Source, just like I did, just like Nick did. It is the best selection, the best staff, the best everything. And discover the new Emily collection by Emily Johnson Weintraub, a sleek and modern jewelry line that makes everyday gifts absolutely extraordinary. And by the way, gold prices have never been higher, so turn that old unused gold into cash or a stunning new piece. Just take it on down to the Golden Diamond Source and trade it in. Lots to get done at the Golden Diamond Source this new year. Start with an engagement ring from the greatest, the Golden Diamond Source. 3800 Almaton Road, always online at the Golden Diamond Source.
It's the love you give only at Golden Diamond Source.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show as we roll on this national championship Monday. Hey, it might be the end of the 12-team playoff. Who knows? All right, let's welcome in an old friend, Tom Brew, who is the national editor-in-chief at Roundtable Sports, former sports writer at the Tampa Tribune, where we worked together, and also at the St. Pete Times. For 7 years, he covered Indiana for Sports Illustrated. He's also covered the Rays. We'll get into that as well. Tom, how are you? Welcome to the show.
I'm
ready
good
for tonight.
Oh, yeah. It's unbelievable. Just been this past 2 years has just been crazy. You know, for an Indiana school that really has zero football history to have this amazing turnaround, it's just been great. And to be able to just to see it all happen every day for the last 2 years has just been incredible.
You know, Tommy, it's not lost on me that I was watching, of all things, the best essay I've seen of Indiana football came from Jane Pauley. I don't know if you've seen this, but if you haven't,
Yep.
it was absolutely phenomenal. CBS Sunday Morning. She did a piece. She's a longtime Indiana girl, and it just gives me chills. You know, it's not for, maybe not for the younger kids, but for some of us older folks that have been around college football for 40 and 50 years, knowing that Indiana is the losingest, the worst, had more football losses than anybody. And in 2 years, we're on the precipice of a national championship. If that doesn't scream how college football has changed at its foundation, I don't know what does. I'll just open the floor to your thoughts on what's going on here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's when they beat Ohio State to win the Big Ten championship on December 6th, it was their first outright Big Ten title since 1945, 80 years ago. They tied for a title in 67 and got to the Rose Bowl that year, lost to an O.J. Simpson team. But and since then, in those 58 years, they had 10 winning seasons. That was it. And then, obviously in 2019, they were pretty good. In 2020, COVID year, they were very good. Went 6-1 and only lost by a touchdown to Ohio State. But then 21 through 23 under Tom Allen, one of our favorite Florida guys.
Yeah.
They were 3-24 in the Big Ten over a 3-year period. They fired Tom Allen. They hired Kurt Cignetti. And now 26-2 in the last 2 years, 17-1 in the Big Ten. And here's an amazing stat for how bad Indiana football's always been. Kurt Cignetti is the only coach in the 138-year history of Indiana football who has a winning record in the Big Ten. He's the only one. Yeah, and it's just crazy this has all happened. But, the confluence of everything, of NIL, of transfer portal, of him bringing 13 players with him from James Madison that nobody knew about, but they were 2 and 3 star guys who have been coached up to be 4 and 5 star guys. They have 3 All-Americans on this team that were all recruited as 2 and 3 star guys. There's not a single 5-star player on this team. There are only 7 4-star players on this team, and they continue to be great at every level on both sides of the ball, and they don't make mistakes. 1 fumble all year. Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman Trophy winner, 6 interceptions all year, 41 touchdowns now, and they don't turn the ball over. They're the least penalized team in the country on both sides of the ball. They are just really coached up well, and they execute, and they're physical, they're fast, they're relentless, all the words they use, and they just do it every day. They've beaten 7 teams by 50 points or more this year.
Whew. It's insane, Tom. And it, we talk about how important is coaching. Boy, I don't think you've ever seen it more than anything. And it is such an interesting story because it does, and this was kind of included in the Jane Pauley piece, is that it does mirror what happened in 1956 in the Hoosiers movie, right? It was based on a true story. Milan, this small school of 100 kids competing against the biggest schools in Indiana. There were no classes back then. And they won the state championship. It's almost like this is playing out, except it's on the biggest stage in football. It's an unbelievable story.
Yeah, it really is, because especially, and just kind of from watching what's going on at Florida State in the last years too. Yeah. They've spent the same amount of money as Indiana has on transfer portal kids, but they've gotten it all wrong. Indiana just seems to hit on everything. And, and when I was talking to Chris Fowler the other day, he's like, it's one thing to be a good Cinderella story, but this is a juggernaut story. Like they've in 2 years. It'd be cute if they won some games and went 8-4 or something, but they're 15-0. And like I said, they're just destroying everybody to beat. They get into the playoffs and they beat Alabama by 35 points. They beat a very good Oregon team by 34 points. They're favored by a touchdown plus tonight against Miami. They're just if it said Ohio State across the front of their jersey or Alabama across the front of the jersey, you say, yeah, I can see it. All these 5-star kids for years, they're really good, but it's not the case. But it just really shows to me not only the quality of the head coach, but his defensive coordinator, Brian Haynes, been with him for 12 years. His offensive coach, Mike Shanahan, at all these different levels, been with him for 10 years. A bunch of his assistant coaches, been with him 7, 8, 9 years. And so they know their system, they know the process, but they're also just incredibly good at individual coaching. And these players on about just how much they've gotten better every day. They've been around these guys. And that shows. And in any college in America could have done it, but it's been Indiana is the one who's gotten it done so far.
And Tom, Charlie Strong was on with us last week a couple of times, and I asked him, he coached in Miami last year, and he obviously has been recruiting and coaching in college football for 4 decades. And I asked him, what is the secret? And one of the things he mentioned was the age of these players. So what Cignetti has done, at least in my mind, in terms of what I see as the secret sauce, number one, he's targeted really smart, really physical, older players. He's got a bunch of grown-ass men playing there. And to your point, the consistency of the coaching. So, and I think this points to a problem that's in college football right now. All these other teams, their systems, they're trying to teach it in, 15 days of spring, and then 20 days of fall, and that's it. That's all you got. And all these kids are running around from different system to different system. They don't know what the hell they're doing. And that's why there's the quality of the play is so bad so many places. And then you see what Indiana has done, and you know what they're doing? They're just buttoned up. They don't, to your point, they don't make mistakes. They don't make mental errors. They beat the hell out of you physically, and I think it makes a difference. I'm not going to say that I think this Indiana team is phenomenal, but I think it's also a product of how bad the rest of college football is in a lot of ways. Would you agree with that in some sense?
Well, I think so. I mean, it's, I think when you're trying to put a new team together every year, and I think obviously we see this much more in basketball than we do football.
Yeah,
but where Cignetti really benefited from, he brought 13 kids with him from James Madison. And
that's
a lot
right.
of people have made a big deal how he built the whole thing to the portal. But when he got to Indiana, the day he arrived, 10 Indiana starters on offense all went in the portal the same day. They lost a bunch of people. He literally had 43 kids on scholarship when he got to Indiana. So to fill all those gaps, he had to go to the portal and brought a bunch of kids and a bunch of kids he played against. But when those 13 JMU guys got to Indiana, they were embraced by the remaining guys who stayed. It said, hey, tell us all about this guy. Show us the way. And the leadership from the player side of it is really important. Aiden Fisher, the middle linebacker, man, he gets a stud. And Elijah Surratt, the wide receiver. He was a 0-star recruit coming out. He had no stars. He went to a tiny school called St. Francis in Pennsylvania. And Cincinnati found him there. Mikael Kamara, the defensive end, All-American, all these guys that came with him. And then they kind of taught everybody. It's like, all right, here's the process. Here's the system. Here's what he likes to get accomplished. Let's all buy in and do it. And they have. I mean, their offensive line is really, really good, and they work together as a group. Well, they're all seniors or redshirt seniors. They're all played a lot of football. And they've been great about filling gaps. Like Mike Kadick was a really good center on last year's team. Barstool guy now. We see him all over the place. They needed a center big time. Well, they got Pat Coogan from Notre Dame. They started 4 years at Notre Dame, and Notre Dame didn't want him anymore. They had younger guys coming in. So Pat comes to Indiana. He's been the starting center, first team All Big Ten. He's been terrific. And it's all that leadership of all these guys working together. And they just, like I said earlier, they just work so well together. They don't make mistakes. They got everybody's back. And this is one of the most unselfish football teams I've ever seen, because they all root for each other. If somebody gets 3 touchdown catches in a game, those other 4 receivers are happy for them. But then there are also games like Oregon where they throw 5 touchdown passes to 5 different guys. So there's a lot of talent, a lot of depth, and of course it helps when you have a quarterback who's been playing as well as Fernando Mendoza has all year long.
So when you look at this game tonight, I think I'm starting to no longer ask the question of, how does Indiana find a path to victory? I feel like everybody always focuses on that, as how can Indiana take down these behemoths of college football? But to your point, they're blowing out all these teams. And so now I have to ask the question, how does Miami stay into this game? And I know Miami's got, probably, maybe the athlete advantage and things like that. But what do you think they could maybe take advantage of in this football game to stay with Indiana?
Yeah, Alabama people thought they had the athlete advantage too. So did Oregon people. Miami obviously has a ton of talent. They're a very good team, and they were ranked number 2 in the country earlier for a reason. But and I was evaluating these playoff run. I kind of took a lot, like when we were leading into the Rose Bowl. I looked at Alabama's 3 losses, and it's like, well, why did they lose, and what can Indiana exploit to beat them? Same thing. It did the same thing with Oregon, because the only loss they had was to Indiana in Eugene earlier. But so when I looked at Miami, when I look at their 2 losses, they made a ton of turnovers. They couldn't run the ball at all. And if that happens tonight, I mean, it's going to be another blowout. Now, I don't think that will happen. I do think this is going to be a little bit more of a slugfest. I think it'll be a slower paced game. I can't imagine Indiana scoring 35 points in the first half of this game. But JP, from being around Miami people and Miami fans, they think, well, Indiana's never seen a running game like ours. It's like crap. They're ranked number 72 in the country. They average 154 yards a game. Penn State averaged more. Iowa averaged more. Oregon averaged more twice. Hell, even Old Dominion and Kennesaw State, the teams that won 10 games each that were non-conference, they all average more yards than Miami. They're a good running team, but they're not great. And Indiana,
they don't stick with it.
No, and Indiana is number 2 in the country. He only allows 75 yards a game rushing. And, last week against Oregon, they allowed 1 71-yard run. The rest of it, 25 carries, 22 yards. Alabama game, 24 carries, 23 yards. They just completely shut down everything. And then Alabama was 0 for 5 on 3rd and 4th downs trying to run the ball against Indiana. 0 for 5. Just couldn't ever keep moving the chains. So to me, that's the big thing is that, Indiana has to keep Miami's running game in check. Miami's offensive line is pretty good. No question about it. But if you watch Indiana much at all, Indiana's linebackers are incredible. Like all of them can run. They got plenty of depth. I mentioned Aiden Fisher earlier. Isaiah Jones is incredible. Hardy's great. They really fly the ball and they really scheme everything up really well. Like you don't see the same 4-3 look every time. They blitz a lot with their linebackers. They drop back in coverage a lot.
Slant a lot.
Yeah, they do. And like tight ends never do anything against Indiana because the linebackers can lock down anybody out in routes. They're really good tackling team too. It's one of the best tackling college football teams I've ever seen. They just don't miss tackles. So it's and I think especially with Miami, like the Tony kid, the wide receiver, the freshman, I like him. And he's very quick and very elusive, but Indiana tackles so well. But I think they'll be able to limit him with yards after the catch too. And and they get on people, so Carson Beck, when he's uncomfortable, he does make mistakes. He's been pretty good lately, and he was good against Ole Miss, but he still makes mistakes. And, I think it's going to be interesting to see if, like the Miami people all think they can move the ball against Indiana, and I don't know if they can.
Tom Brew joining us here. Been covering for Indiana for a long, long time. To me, this seems like the classic matchup of great athletes versus, the really fundamentally sound team that doesn't make mistakes, right? And to your point of all these matchups that we've talked about, they all feel like, okay, we're bigger, better than them. And then they get smacked in the mouth and they don't know what to do. Where's the adjustment? And this is where I think the coaching matchup is so far in Indiana's favor. And I watched Shannon Dawson throughout these playoffs, and look, they're winning games. But that last game, you just run the damn football. They were done. Their defensive line was toast, and he kept dropping back, allowing them to sack the quarterback, get holding calls. Bad things were happening when they threw the ball. When they ran it, everything was positive, but yet they still didn't do it. And this is what Miami, to me, they've done a lot of good stuff, but when it comes to coaching and game management, they don't get it. They don't get it. And Cignetti will absolutely embarrass you in that level. And so I think from a coaching standpoint, a huge check to Indiana. They may think they have the home field advantage tonight. I'll wait and see what that crowd looks like because I think it's going to be all more Indiana. I got Indiana tonight. I think
good.
It may not be close.
Yeah, and JP with all of my Florida State history too. Two kids going there and been up there.
Yeah.
Coach. I was always the guy at the Times. Kind of helped out Ray Holloman back in the day, and So I'm all about this whole rivalry with Miami anyway. I've lived a lot of it for a lot of years, and when they come down here, like how many times have we been to Florida State Miami games in Miami where it was more Florida State people than all the time. And this is a first ever type thing for Indiana. I mean, it's like the crowd at the Rose Bowl. Long trip. Granted, it was a long trip for Alabama too, but it was a 70-30 crowd at the Rose Bowl. It was a 95-5 crowd in Atlanta last week. And there are Indiana people all over the place here. I have literally hundreds of people I know who are here. They don't even have tickets to the game. They're just here. And last night they had a big red tailgate party. There were 5,000 people there. And everywhere you turn around on social media, every bar, it's a bunch of Indiana people in every single bar. And it's going to be a 60-40 Indiana crowd tonight for sure. I mean, there was one guy on a podcast earlier today was talking about how Miami's got this big, huge home field advantage. Like, no, they don't. The only thing they have is that they play in that stadium. Like they don't use their own locker room. Indiana's the home team. They're using the Miami locker room, for this game. They'll be in their white uniforms, and there'll be a ton of Indiana people making a whole lot of noise. And it very much will be a pro-Indiana crowd tonight.
And that's going to shake Miami, the fact that they're going to get out there and they'll think they're going to have the home field advantage. And it's not. Right. And that will be a little bit weird for them. And, and they'll also be shocked that the whole place is filled up because they're not used to that either. It's empty. Yeah.
It'll be full up. It'll be full tonight, but it will, like I said, it's tickets are still selling today for $2,500, $3,000 minimum, for up at the top and
Super Bowl ticket prices.
Yeah, but there are Indiana people here and they're ready to go. And like last week in Atlanta, obviously you've been up at Mercedes-Benz Stadium with the Bucs and all that stuff before. being a dome in that, the place gets loud. And the Indiana people just literally took over that game. Dante Moore, who I have a lot of respect for, I think he's a great quarterback, was so frustrated because they couldn't call out any singles. They gave up after like 2 drives and went to hand signals everywhere because nobody could hear anything. I mean, Indiana's crowd just literally changed the complexity of that game. And I don't know if that will happen tonight or not. Outdoor stadium, smaller place, and there will be some Miami fans there. But Indiana's people are going to bring it, and they're going to be loud.
Anything else from you, Nick?
Yeah, does this, worry about tonight first and win a national championship, but as we move forward after this season, because a lot of the talent on this team obviously is going to move off to the NFL, but Cignetti is still going to be here. This coaching staff is still going to be there. Everything's built, and it seems like from what they've done in the portal, it has been as reload as you can possibly get, in the modern age of college football. So what is your opinion maybe on like the staying power of this and the investment now from other people? You see guys like Mark Cuban all of a sudden is starting to put money in program and guys like that. Where do you think this lands as far as the future?
Well, everybody laughed at Cignetti last year when he signed his new contract deal and said, well, why would I leave? Indiana is an emerging superpower in college football. Well, even I laughed at him at the time. It's like, come on, but it's true. I mean, they have complete buy-in from top to bottom, from the president on down, that they want this to be a football school. And obviously, being in Florida as long as we've all been, we know what drives college athletics. It's all these big, massive football TV contracts and such. So with all that money in, you got to be relevant, and you got to be a part of it. And they everybody mentions Mark Cuban because he's so well known. Everybody knows who Mark Cuban is, but he's just one of like a dozen guys who donate at a high level. Terry Talon, who's a very good friend of mine, played on Indiana's Holiday Bowl championship team in 1979. He's a commercial real estate investor from California who donated millions of dollars to the program. And there's just a lot of those guys. The Cook family, their Cook Medical is based in Bloomington, billionaires galore. There's just a lot of that. So there's complete buy-in top to bottom. Number 1 transfer portal class coming in next year. They have bringing in Josh Hoover from TCU, and Alberto Mendoza, Fernando's little brother, says, hey, I'm not going anywhere. I'll gladly compete with you. I think I'm going to be the starter next year. And he may very well be, and they brought in they reloaded at every level. They brought in 2 great offensive linemen. They brought in wide receivers. They brought in 2 4-star defensive backs. They have reloaded. So and I don't put anything past them. They went 11-1 last year in the regular season, and their over/under for this year was 8.5 because nobody figured they could win at Oregon. Nobody figured they could win at Penn State or Iowa. They played number 9 Illinois in September, where it was supposed to be a big game. They won 63-10. It's like so. I don't put like if somebody says, can Indiana win a national championship again next year? I'm not putting it past them. I mean, it's going to be it's always going to be a challenge. But I looked at it this year and I was like, I said all year long, the SEC is not that good, and they're 0-3 in the playoffs against teams they didn't play against.
How about that?
Yeah, I know. And obviously the Big Ten's very good. Oregon's going to be good next year. Ohio State, Michigan, I think under Winningham will be good. Penn State, Matt Campbell, I think is a great coach. The Big Ten, I think next year will be the best conference in the country and very top heavy. Now I'll be the first to admit, those teams at the bottom of the Big Ten, like Purdue and Rutgers and such, are just not very good right now. But so what? It's like, when Miami beat Texas A&M, I wasn't the least bit surprised because Texas A&M beat the 7 worst teams in the SEC this year.
Right.
If you could ever have an easy SEC schedule, they had it. And then Miami scored 10 points against them and still won. So it's it's just a different time. And Indiana's there, fully invested with they were able to keep both their coordinators. Their defensive coordinator, Brian Haynes, who probably could have gotten a head coaching job, he's getting paid $3 million to be the defensive coordinator next year. $3 million. and where everybody like Mike Norvell can thank Kurt Cignetti for still having his job. Luke Fickell at Wisconsin, Mike Loxley at Maryland, they can all thank Cignetti for still having their jobs, because instead of getting fired this year, all of those schools and all those universities said, you know what, we're doing NIL wrong. We can't blame the coach completely because as an institution, we're doing this wrong. We need to do it better. And they give it more time to fix it. And now we'll see if anybody can. But certainly, Indiana's created the blueprint for it. But, how well can anybody duplicate it?
That's the secret sauce. And I think Cignetti, with all those things that we mentioned, I think he's figured it out. But it does come down to coaching and discipline And I just love listening to Cignetti talk and how he does it. And it's no nonsense. It's a very Nick Saban-esque, right? I mean, that's where his pedigree comes from. And he runs that program just like Alabama. No nonsense. And you can see the fruits of his labor. Hey, before you go, some quick notes on the Rays, because you cover the Rays as well. Over the weekend, Ken Babby did a podcast last week. I watched the whole thing and listened to it, and I thought it was really good and really gave me a lot of hope of what these guys are going to do and how hard they're going to work and their aptitude to do so with a lot on their plate. I mean, there's a ton. I think he was right when he said there's bigger headwinds for the Rays than maybe any franchise in sports, but there's also great opportunity here in Tampa Bay, especially for baseball, because I personally think we've done everything wrong in terms of stadium location, ownership. We've done a lot wrong, and there's a lot of room for improvement, and I think these guys can get it done, and I'm going to give them some leeway. They've been here 5 minutes, and everybody's already pissed off that they don't have a $300 million or a $3 billion retractable roof stadium and a $300 million payroll. I'm like, can we give them more than 5 minutes to get it done? Absolutely. What are your thoughts?
Well, I agree with you. And of course, obviously I've paid very, very close attention to everything you've been doing the last year or so with all this stuff and sort of being at the forefront of what's going on with it.
I appreciate that.
I think, having a new ownership group is a wonderful thing. It absolutely is a huge deal. But there are a lot of things at play. Like for one, they cannot rush the stadium thing.
Right.
They absolutely have to get the best spot. And then when they do, then they have to build the best stadium, and you can't say, all right, you can't buy the team on a Monday and say, snap your fingers and say, all right, we'll put it there, we'll build it there, and we'll go. Like this, they need to get this 100% right. And obviously, it needs to be in Hillsborough County. I'm a longtime Pinellas County guy myself, but still it needs to be over there. Mostly because we've tried for 30 years to get people from Tampa and Hillsborough County to go drive across that bridge, and they just won't do it. But, there are plenty of good locations in Hillsborough. It seems to me like the HCC campus thing and being across from Ray J is sort of the leader in the clubhouse right now, and that will be fine. I was always a bigger component of the fairground site just because of the room and access to people from Orlando and access to people coming from the South and such. And there's room to build a beautiful Atlanta-like, battery mini city out there around the ballpark. And I don't know, I was always a little leery of the Ybor stuff because I just wasn't sure where you would squeeze all that in. And I think that's why they're doing all their due diligence. I mean, they're trying to make sure that they get all this stuff done and get it all right. And like I said, those of us are so used to going to Tampa Stadium and Raymond James Stadium all these years, and hell, even last year going to Steinbrenner Field, like we know how to get to games on Domestic. I laugh at some of these people on social media who say, "Oh, the traffic will be so bad." It's like, where are you been for 40 years? I mean, it's easy to get off. I mean, I-275 is way better than it was, way back when. And
Tommy, everybody, as you know, when it comes to stadium, everybody wants an express lane to the front spot. Exactly. No traffic, front street parking. And if it doesn't have that, then it's a bad site.
Right.
It's like you're going to a game with 65,000 people or 35,000. There's going to be some traffic. That's kind of how it works.
Exactly. Yeah. But I'm happy that they have these guys. Now, I think the product on the field, until they get the stadium stuff done, like I'm not sure how much they're going to want to spend. I'm not sure how good they really want to be. I think, man, they are picked to finish dead last in the AL East this year and not even close, I think the over-under I saw in the preseason stuff was like 75.5 wins. Like that could be reality, and they've traded a lot of people that we have gotten to get to know really well here. And Mark Topkin and I were talking the other day about how they're trading away all the best talkers in the locker room,
that too. Yeah.
Brent Lau, Pete Fairbanks, Josh Lowe, all of them, great interviews. Jake Mangum, but there were also a bunch of 220 hitters, and guys who were slumped or guys who would be injured a lot, so they're, I think what we'll see here is that once they get the stadium stuff done, they will actually target being very competitive.
I agree.
28, 29, in that window. Because would it make any sense to go, try to spend $50 million on Kyle Tucker this year to be on this team?
No.
So I think we got to kind of live with some average baseball maybe, but my take on that too the other night was we could talk about average this team's going to be, and then the first series of the year, Shane McClanahan, Drew Rasmussen, and Ryan Pepio all throw 5 scoreless innings the first week.
Yeah, that's a thing.
They're 3-0 out of the gate, winning 3-0, 2-0, and 2-1. And it's like that happened. And and you still got Junior Caminero can might hit 50 homers again this year, and Jonathan Aranda was an all-star last year. They still have a good team. And but I think we're going to have to they're not going to go out and spend millions more, to try to keep up with the Joneses, because they just can't do that. And it is we can all say what we want about Stuart Sternberg, but the facts are the facts. I mean, the Los Angeles Dodgers had $1.2 billion in revenue last year, and the Rays had about $200 million. There are teams that make 6 times as much money as the Rays do, and they can spend it accordingly. And certainly some of the richest teams are still the Yankees and the Blue Jays and the Red Sox when they want to be. And, try to compete with all that is not easy.
Yeah, agreed. I think their revenues are closer to $300 million, but we will see. But I think I agree with you. It's going to take some time. I would like to see them this year get the payroll over $100 million. I think that would be a nice little signal to the fans that, we are invested. We got a lot on our plate, but we do want to try to be somewhat successful this year. And I think if they add one more piece, a nice right-handed hitting outfielder with some pop, I think it would bring everything together in the lineup and in the field as well. So they may not be done. Do you think they're done?
No, I don't think so. There's still enough unsigned people who aren't there that they can maybe get on a better deal than they could have in December, January,
or make a trade with all the prospects they have.
And then one thing too to keep in mind too, like I am a huge Drew Rasmussen fan. I am a huge Ryan Pepio fan, and I'm really just as a person, I love Shane McClanahan.
We're all rooting for him, man.
For him to be good. Well, if you have this money where they're at payroll wise now, if those guys all come out of the gate pitching great, is it time to sign Pepio to a longer-term deal and kind of lock him in now? Same with Rasmussen. If Shane can come back at all, you try to lock that in a little bit more, because you would have the money to do that for those. To me, those are the 3 most important people on this team right now, other than Caminero. And then obviously you got to do a deal with Junior at some point, but there's no rush. And I think that's something that'll probably come 27, at some point.
Yeah.
But they have the money now; they can kind of lock up some of their stars if they want to, and then we'll see how some of these younger guys emerge. I'm still a big Joe Boyle fan. He's got incredible stuff. He just, he got a little wild.
Got to harness it. Yeah.
He can throw 100, all the time. And we've seen games where he just completely overpowered lineups, first game up, 5 innings, no hit ball. He did that 2 or 3 other times too. They've got guys like that, and so I think we'll see. And then, they have that next wave of guys in Durham who are close too. And even Carson Williams, who, got called up, was very, very average, for those 6 weeks he was up in the big leagues, but he's a 20-year-old kid learning his way too. I still think he's going to be a really good player too. And obviously I think at some point in 2026, we see him back, playing a fair amount of shortstop too, but we'll see. But it's just, I'm glad we're turning the page on the Sternberg era, and I'm glad we've got a lot to look forward to. And I'll be excited to see where the stadium winds up going, and then how they do it, and because I think these guys who bought this team they're not just businessmen hoping to make a buck. I think they want to have an impact on having.
They're invested.
Team. Yeah, they want to have a quality baseball team in the Tampa Bay area, and those of us who love baseball and love Tampa Bay, and that's not Tampa, not St. Pete, not Tampa.
Exactly.
I moved here in 1980, JP, and I've been saying for 45 years, man, this is the city of Tampa Bay, and it's it's the 7th largest city in America if you count right. It's
exactly.
We all need to be in all this stuff together when it comes to pro sports and that, and because those are people in Pinellas County who drive over to watch the Bucs and the Lightning all the time. It can be done, and so wherever they go, we just need it to be well supported, because obviously baseball has not been supported very well here yet. A lot of reasons for that, of course, but I think. For this community, and as much baseball love as we have in this community, there's no reason why the Rays a team that sells 25,000, 30,000 tickets every night.
That's why I've always been bullish on this market, Tom, because and I know that baseball is in the fabric of this Tampa Bay region. I mean, you could just look at the product and the players that we pump out year in year. I mean, per capita, I think we have more Major League Baseball players coming out of this area than any place. And we love our baseball. We grow up with baseball, and we've done it so wrong for so long. And it's not about Tampa versus St. Pete, which I see all the time, bro. And I'm like, I'm done with this. It's Tampa Bay, and it's, well, it's only fair that we have the baseball stadium in St. Pete. That's not how it works.
No.
You need to put it where it works.
Right.
And you know what y'all have? And I shouldn't even say y'all. You know what we have in St. Pete? Unbelievable beaches, incredible downtown. So, all the spring training facilities, the restaurants and bars and music scene in St. Pete. And again, the beaches are the most beautiful in the world. That's what St. Pete's for. And Tampa is for where we have our airports, where we have our sports teams, where business is hubbed, and then we have, Sarasota and Manatee Beaches, Anna Marie Island, Pasco County is great for that kind of country feel, and, Lakeland, and that it's all just represented in such a great area. And we always try to, make everybody different in this place against this place. I don't get it. Yeah. I don't get it. We're Tampa freaking Bay. I moved here in 97, so I didn't grow up here with this provincialism, I think, that a lot of people have, about the bridge and all this stuff. I didn't, and when I got here, I'm like, what are you people talking about? Yeah. Like, I grew up in South Florida, from Homestead to Jupiter. It's one big city. That's what it is. It's not Dade, Broward, West. It's one big freaking metropolis. And the same thing here. And as sooner we get off this provincialism and work together, then we're going to see some success, not only in baseball, but in transportation, and a lot of things we could do better in the Tampa Bay area. And we just need a little more unity in the community, as Chris Thomas used to say.
There you go.
So I'm with you on that, brother.
Yep, absolutely. I'm excited to see how it all plays out. And I'm glad to be back.
Tommy, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you
having me on. And I'm hoping all of my Florida State fans are along for the Indiana ride tonight. Anybody, anywhere, Canes is always a good thing. So.
Absolutely. All right, Tommy. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome. The great Tom Brew. That was fun. That was fun. You got a lot of information on what's going on with Indiana. The more I think about this game, Nick, I think Indiana might do what they've done to Oregon and everybody else to Miami tonight. And I think don't you think there's a little pressure for Miami playing at home?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really seen this before, right? A team playing in their own backyard in a national championship game. But I like the storyline though of Mendoza, who's from that area, and was going to didn't get no recruit at all, barely even on the radar, and was going to go to Harvard before Cal came in, and had a nice year last year at Cal. But nobody really knew much about Mendoza even before he got to Indiana. We knew he was the Cal quarterback and he had something. We didn't know he had this in his bag, right? Now he's coming back to Miami and a chance to beat them in a national championship to win this program's first ever with the story that this has been. I think it'd be – I'm not just saying this because obviously we have reasons for why we would root against – me and you would root against Miami. But – in terms of college football, the story to me, I think we root for stories, right? We want to see the best stories sort of prevail. And
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that the U being back is not a great story, because I will tell you all the time, when Miami is really good, college football is better.
Yeah.
College football is absolutely better. So that's a good story too. But the magnitude of what Indiana is doing, it's almost it's hard to really wrap your head around it. It really is. And for them to finish that off tonight by beating Ohio State, Alabama, Oregon, and then Miami to get there.
Wow.
We're talking one of the more incredible runs we've ever seen in the history of the sport. That, to me, that's the overarching story.
It's just like the movie Hoosiers. It's very similar. I mean, on a national college scale, it's the same storyline. Coach comes out of nowhere, kind of a forgotten guy. He's too old to coach, he's not the young up and comer, I don't know if he has the personal demons that the Hoosiers coach did, Dale had, but it's just, and then the smaller school, so we think it's not small. Indiana's not small, by the way. But it always has been a losing deal. compared to Miami and Ohio State and all the blue bloods that you just talked about, and they're getting it done. So, yeah, sometimes life is stranger than fiction, and this is what we're realizing, and it's going to all play out tonight on the national championship stage. I rarely can remember such a great storyline matchup as we have here tonight, and that's what makes great games and memorable games, and the ones that you don't forget are the great storylines coming in. And does the game live up to the hype? We shall see. This is what it's all about, baby. And we'll play it all out tonight. And I can't wait for it. And the only thing is, I guess we got to listen to Kirk Herbstreit all night. But other than that, I guess it's okay. Poor guys. I mean, what are they going to do without the SEC in it again? Like, that's a whole nother show.
That's the other thing. Like, Indiana, Miami feels just. It's kind of how Michigan, Washington felt a couple of years ago. That felt fresh.
Yeah.
And this feels even fresher than that to an extent. And by the way, I don't think viewership's taken that much of a hit, is it? People aren't just saying, well, I'm not watching Indiana play football. Like, no, I don't think that's happening. I think
you're getting a lot more casual fans just because of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. When CBS Sunday morning is taking 5 minutes to talk about college football, it's definitely gone outside its usual parameters. So I think there's a lot of eyeballs that are not normally college football fans that'll be tuning in to see this Indiana story. I think the ratings will be huge. We shall see. All right. We will take a quick break and say thank you to Riveters, which is the official sports bar and grill of your JP Peterson show. So please go by there. Tell them JP sent you. And enjoy some of the tremendous fresh food. We were at with Coach Strong the other day and Big O. We had a little meeting, and we were enjoying our extra crispy chicken wings with side of blue cheese and the medium buffalo sauce. Oh, so good. So good. And they do the prime rib tacos and the sandwiches. Fantastic. And they have the micro brews there as well. Always great prices, great atmosphere, Riveters. Back in 3 with your comments. We'll get to all the other topics. Stay with us.
Well, the folks at Third Generation Plumbing and AC want to say thanks for making them so dadgum busy. Of course, advertising on your favorite Tampa Bay sports talk show helps, but it's their incredible customer service, honesty, and integrity that have earned them tons of 5-star reviews. And now you could be part of the team at Third Generation. Yes, they are so slammed, they need to hire more certified AC technicians and plumbers. It's a great family business to work for. My buddy John Rodriguez runs an old school family business since 1995. They pay well, give you all the holidays off, and they offer great benefits. No cold corporate atmosphere here. You're part of the family. If this sounds cool to you, call them and apply at 813-961-8024, or you can email your resume in at thirdgenerationplumbing.com. Just go to the website, you'll see the button, email them, or call them at 813-961-8024. And don't forget about the $169 yearly maintenance special. It's a no-brainer, guys. thirdgenerationplumbing.com, and they also do AC.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted #3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite.
I love it.
So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
Welcome to Kingmakers, home of the JP Peterson Show studio and Tampa's premier business networking and social club for members only. By day, it's an exclusive, vibrant co-working space with a stylish conference room, focus rooms, a full production studio, and an in-house marketing team. And by night, Kingmakers transforms into a sports-centric social hub with a full sports bar, golf simulator, and exclusive events. For young entrepreneurs and seasoned professionals, it's the perfect place to work hard, play hard, and make big moves in Midtown Tampa. Close the deal, celebrate the win. Only at Kingmakers. Become a member today at kingmakerstampa.com. Your business, your club. Hey, JP here for my concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. You've heard him on the show for a couple of years where he shares invaluable medical, nutritional, and supplement advice. With Chris, it's like having a medical provider as your best friend. What I love about this concierge service is the convenience and support he offers. I can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or copays required. It gives me peace of mind knowing I have someone genuinely invested in my health, not just focused on insurance profits. And the best part, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Don't let insurance companies dictate your health care. Take control of your health and wellness today. Visit BAMMC.com for more information and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself and take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance. Don't forget, if you have started a side hustle in recent years or a new business, you got to have business insurance or you could be risking your entire personal wealth. So make sure you have it. Flood insurance, if you don't have that, you need it as well for obvious reasons. And most of you, 40% of you, do not have enough coverage on your home by statistics. So go to ItalianoInsurance.com, give them a call, tell them JP sent you, and they will shop all the dozens of companies that they represent and find you lower rates. A lot of companies coming in offering lower rates. So give it a shot. Maybe you'll save hundreds, could save thousands of dollars. You never know. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. By the way, Darian Mensah from Duke, the quarterback from Duke, is also out into the portal now and could be headed to Miami as their next quarterback. He said he was coming back to Duke, and his general manager at Duke is the guy that Florida State just hired. Before we gave money to Ashton Daniels, I say we, FSU, and some of these other quarterbacks that have come in, we were told that Mensah wasn't leaving. And now the guy that got him to Duke, who's working for Florida State, is not. I mean, we were like, well, I hope that if we hire this guy, Jason Garrett's brother, John Garrett, if we hire him, then maybe he'll bring Mensah, the quarterback, with him. Well, let's not
give all the credit to Mr. John Garrett. Let's give credit to the $4 million that came with John Garrett's offer. So, yeah. But no, to the point about Mensah, though, I'm actually really bothered by this. Like, literally the day the portal is closing, he jumps in. Right. Because clearly there's been tampering behind the scenes here, and Miami in a position where they're still trying to win a national championship has no solution at quarterback next year, I don't believe. And then just out of nowhere, Mensah enters the portal on the last day. And then immediately every reporter is like, Miami's the team to watch here. He's going to Miami. Really? I don't like it. I don't like it.
Where do you think he's going?
No, he's going to Miami. I think that's pretty obvious, but I'm saying I don't like the optic of it. It's the last day of the portal, and one of the best quarterbacks in the country who we didn't think was entering the portal at all just jumps in and is going to go to Miami now. And what is Duke to do now? There's no time for them. I mean, what do? They just pick a scrap that's left, or they wait for the second cycle in the spring? Like, what? I mean, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it, but I don't like a lot of things about college football off the field. Yeah,
it's in crisis mode, no question about it. But it has produced one of the greatest stories of all time in Indiana.
That's the crazy thing. For all the nonsense going on off the field and there's no leadership and everything happening that I don't like, and I don't think anybody really likes. You do have to. There is some sense to you have to play the game while this is the rule. And if you try to fight it and you try to if you try to put your stake in the ground and be like, nope, I disagree with it. I'm not doing it this way. Well, you're going to get left behind in the dust. It's just what's going to happen. So it is what it is right now. But the way the game is being played on the field is tremendous. It's tremendous.
Well,
it is.
No, I think that the quality of play is not nearly as good as it used to be. And I think because of all the transfers and guys not being in systems, I think
we don't. These teams people are saying that Indiana, don't confuse what I said earlier about how this would be an all-time run for them to do this. That's true, but let's pump the brakes on saying, well, how would they match? Like, people love to do the game where, they'd be on the same par as 2019 LSU. No. Those teams,
2013 FSU that holds the record for victory.
The teams that we saw before, where all these programs were hoarding the best talent from the high school ranks for years and years and years, those teams were just different than the teams you see now. They just were.
Well, they were athletic. Not only were they athletic and 5-star on every those were kids that were in the same system for 2, 3, 4 years before they ever got to play. And you don't think those teams were more buttoned up and better than these teams now?
Yeah.
That get about 20, 25 practices before they start playing for real? Get out of here.
I got news for you. If the portal never existed in the way it is now, it would not have shocked me if the University of Georgia would be on some crazy 3-4 run of winning national 100%. Championships. Yeah. The reason why, Georgia is still a phenomenal football team and can make the playoff and everything, they don't have the advantage across the board that they did even 3-4 years ago.
I don't think Nick Saban doesn't coach football anymore.
Right.
Oh, the NIL, and that's part of it. The other part is he knows he'll never be able to be as dominant as he would because he saw it. He saw it play out. If he coached, he coaches kids hard, really, really hard. And as soon as one player gets his panties in a wad, they're out the door. He can't coach them that way anymore, and he knows it. And he's like, I'm not doing this because I'll be just like every other coach, waiting for kissing the ass of these kids every single day, trying to keep them here and not go to another school. And that's back in the day. He knew he used that as a club. And I don't mean it in a bad way, by the way. I don't mean it, but he knew he could coach these guys hard because they had nowhere to go. And if kids did transfer, man, their stuff was immediately put in the garbage can. If there was even a whiff that they wanted to leave the program, get out of here. So guys wouldn't do it. It was just a different time. But it also led to these dynasties and not a lot of change at the top. I like the parity. I love the Indiana story. Am I a little upset that Florida State is now a lot like just the other programs? Yeah, I am. But I'm also a realist. It's like, okay, go do it right. We're doing it all wrong. We've been doing it wrong. Do it right, and let's see where you go. Get good coaching. Mix in some high school recruiting. Build a good recruiting network in the state of Florida, something Mike Norvell has never done. And don't just rely completely on the portal. You got to do both. To me, portal is free agency. Recruiting, high school recruiting is your draft. And you got to do both.
But for the most part, the top programs still, there's some outliers out there, but the top programs are still the ones that, Miami. I mean, a lot of Miami's players are built through their recruiting classes. They've had to rely on the portal at the quarterback position, sure, but a lot of the bones of what they are is just recruiting, especially in the trenches. I'll always say that. If you're trying to live in the portal world through the trenches, good luck. Good luck is all I'll say to that.
We have a super chat. Bucs basement coming off $2. That's impressive. Says shameful. Tampa stores don't sell merchandise.
It is kind of true. It's really hard. I don't go looking for Miami stuff, but you don't really see it much.
He says, who wants to buy Gators and Knowles gear? Just a bunch of losers.
It's the Gators rule this town in terms of gear. If you
merchandise.
Go to the house of sport that they have at International, the Gator section is, it's like going into a little bookstore at UF.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. So I'm watching the football last night, obviously all day yesterday, and these incredible games all weekend long, which we'll get into a little bit more now. But so we have 5 boys here aged like 13 to 14 in that range. No interest in the NFL at all. No interest in watching the game. Nothing.
Oh, it hurts
None.
my soul. It hurts my soul.
Yeah. Yeah.
What were they doing?
I'm playing video games, of course.
Oh,
Riding their bikes, riding their e-bike. They don't, no, not bikes, not actually pedaling. Can't do
no,
that.
can't put any work in. No, absolutely
not.
not.
Put any work in. You gotta have, you gotta get an e-bike.
I hate those
the
damn
exercise.
things. I am already at that point where I see these kids whizzing by my house with these damn e-bikes, and it pisses me off.
Death traps. Yeah. But no, it's kind of weird. They have no interest. No interest. Yeah. All right, let's get into some of the comments here. I'm going to start at the bottom. I know we normally start at the top, but then we never get to the guys talking about the stuff that we're actually talking about later in the show. So we'll flip it up a little bit here today. Aviation says, hell, JP, there was out there pretty much playoff football. Jason has to be blamed as well. JPP, come on now.
Well, he started off with my guy Vildor was out there on key downs that changed seasons, careers, organizations.
Okay. Yeah. That's a problem with going to the bottom. Is I do miss out on the earlier comments, so I apologize for that. Listen, is this roster Super Bowl ready as I thought it was? No, I think I overestimated it. I think a lot of us did. I think so much really disintegrated with the offensive line, because obviously this offense was going to be the driving force behind this team. You just needed a halfway competent defense, and you didn't get it. And then the offense with the offensive line, that was, I think, something that Josh Grizzard really couldn't overcome.
Yeah. I think I found where all these comments, because there was a little comment or a little thread going on here in the comments. I think this is Bucs Basement, who had said he started it. Bucs have the worst coach in the division, is what he said.
Yeah, Stefanski hired by the Falcons, by the way.
Yeah, and then Andre All Day 20 said, "Stop it! Dave Canales is the worst coach in the NFC." Joe Forsland said
he just won the division.
The Bucs already had the worst coach. Is Todd Bowles the worst coach no, I can't get you on that one right now. I can't. I don't think we can go that far to say he's the worst coach in the division. I mean, Kellen Moore, we haven't seen Kellen Moore. I mean, Kellen Moore, they showed some promise this year, found the quarterback, but we don't know what Kellen Moore is yet. We don't really know that. I think the Panthers were as fool's gold as it gets, personally.
If you had your choice of all four coaches, who would you choose?
Stefanski.
Yeah, me too. I'd say Stefanski.
Right now, I would say Bowles is number 2.
Listen. I think Dave Canales. I don't think he's a great offensive coordinator, but I think he's a great leader of men. I think he's got that vibe about him that just makes you believe. I don't necessarily think he's going to turn that into a Super Bowl, but I like that vibe. I like his vibe. I'm interested to see where that goes, to be honest with you. Ellen Moore.
By the way, when I say Todd Bowles is the second best coach of the division before everybody gets in upheaval over this, all these guys are all like 25 to 32 for me if I'm ranking the current sitting coaches in the league. Okay. Yeah. So it ain't, I'm not saying it's like a big deal, by the way.
Right. Exactly.
I'm just comparing him to the crop in the division. But Stefanski, I told you, I don't know how Stefanski is going to work immediately. I told you from my vantage point, it felt like Stefanski, the best thing for him would have do the Vrabel route, go into a different building and be a lesser role, learn some new things, get out of that mentality where you have to be so hands-on to everything. Just relax. Just relax. You're still a 2-time coach of the year. You did wonders for a time in Cleveland, which nobody else has been able to do for 30 years. Take a year off and then come back next year rejuvenated. I think that would have been the best approach for Kevin Stefanski, but I still rate him as a coach. And if you were asking me would I have, if the alternate universe was out there and Kevin Stefanski was the Bucs head coach, yeah, I would take that still.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just so ready for change. I'm a little jaded, to be honest with you. Play Blues Wolf says Bowles has a powerful voice in deciding which players to draft. He's just as responsible for the lack of talent on defense as Jason Light. It's a collaborative failure, and Bowles can't coach up the players. I agree with this. I think everybody that just throws all the personnel decisions on Jason Light, especially the ones on defense, I disagree with that. I disagree with that. I think Todd. I think Todd has a huge say in who we draft defensively.
I think the coaches that Todd has allowed to stay for too long was a problem. I still think the 3 coaches that he kept on the defensive side of the ball are a problem, that they're being allowed to stay. Foote, Caldwell, and Edwards. I think they should have been gone as well. If you're going to just get rid of everyone else, they should have gone too. So I'm concerned about that. Is there any amount of coaching out there that could have gotten anything out of Chris Raswell? I don't know. He just seems like a guy that can't play, and that's a miss by Jason Light.
I agree. But you got to think that Todd Bowles had a say in drafting him as well. He certainly had to sign off on it.
I can't say that with confidence because I just don't know for sure. I mean, some buildings work differently than others. And depending on how much collaborate, I'm sure there is like Jason says, hey, I like this guy, and this is who I believe in. And I'm sure Todd signs off on it. But if Todd says I don't agree with that, does Todd's word go over Jason's? Probably not. Probably not.
I would think that if they both don't agree on it, that player's not taken.
I think there's I think as you're seeing with the comments that have been made by current players and Rondé and everything, there's a real problem with the scheme that when you have the right players in place and it all comes together, it is a beautiful thing, and we've seen it. But it's a very difficult scheme for everybody to sort of step right in and learn right away. I think that's the bigger issue right now.
To that point, Mike H says, I saw more tightly contested catches or defended passes the last 2 weeks than any time I can remember. Yeah, because you watch a lot of Bucs football and the guys are wide freaking open. I mean, that's one thing I think is dramatic when you watch Bucs football compared to other teams. And that's how wide open players are constantly in this secondary.
By the way, did you get a kick out of it like I did? You're watching Carlton Davis just catch everything all of a sudden. Did you see the play he made yesterday? The interception?
Yeah.
Getting his knee in. I mean, come on. Really? You couldn't.
Yeah, he's definitely
couldn't catch a cold in Tampa.
I know. Yeah, that's interesting. So, and we haven't really talked a lot about these particular games, but there's a lot of consternation going on about the Brandon Cooks interception / catch, and then the play yesterday, which a lot of people, when you slow it down and you stop, you go with a freeze frame. I get it. It looks weird, but just to me, those plays look different to me. Now, I'll be the first to bitch and moan about officiating, how it's not constant. And I think we've gotten to the point that we've seen so much absurdity, how there's no consistency to any of it when it comes to these type of situations, what's a catch and what's not a catch. We never had those problems when I was growing up watching football, by the way. But when replay came, starting with the great Bert Emanuel fiasco in the 1999 championship game with the Bucs and the Rams, I was there, watched the whole thing play out in front of my face. And so ever since then, there's been a question as to what is a catch and what's not a catch. And it has decided more playoff games and more important games than any specific call in football. And the bottom line is we still can't get it right, and we don't know what it is. And that's a problem for the NFL. That's a huge problem for the NFL.
That play on, what was it, Saturday night, the Buffalo game? I guess based on what they constitute in the rule book of what it has to take for it to be a completed catch, then it wasn't a catch. And it's an interception. And I have no problem with that if that's the ruling. I think the issue comes down to the lack of transparency, and Sean McDermott was pretty vocal after the game about it.
Right.
And I don't think he was just bitching for bitching's sake. I think he had a really valid point. It's that this is a game, this is a playoff game. We're in overtime. This is a big moment in this game. This is a critical moment. This is going to decide basically who wins and loses this game, this call. Don't you think we should sort of settle down a little bit and take a little time and really look this one over?
100%.
And they didn't even have, Carl Cheffers, the referee, they didn't even have him take a look at it. It just immediately goes, oh, well, New York's handling it.
Yeah.
I don't know who's in New York.
Yeah.
I don't know what their credentials are. They're also, million or thousands of miles away.
Nameless, faceless.
In a boardroom.
Anonymous.
They're not. Exactly. Like, that is an issue for me. So, like, the fact that he was really upset that they didn't even look at it, like the main referees, and they had someone else look at it and they said, oh, they confirmed the call. That's not good enough for me. That explanation doesn't fly. I think that's the issue. As for the actual call, I do think they got it right. I think it was an interception.
Yeah. In the Brandon Cooks one, you think that was an interception?
Yes. And I think anybody that is trying to take these still shots, please stop trying to judge plays on still shots. It doesn't, It has no relevance at all.
I agree. 100%. Also, Caleb Williams yesterday, incredible comebacks performance, but also very average in his accuracy for most of the game. He makes these spectacular plays, but his problem is he doesn't make the gimmies. And he had a 5-yard out in that drive that before the interception that would have kept the things going. He just seems to miss, and that's why his completion percentage is so low. He doesn't get the gimmies, and you got to take those. You got to be able to execute those, and he'll learn. I think he'll get better. I'm so impressed, and I never thought he would amount to anything, especially early on, and would be one of those guys that just kind of flushes out because he wasn't given time to really, really develop and mature in this league. I think he's taking giant steps this year. I think he's got a ways to go, but he's certainly heading in the right direction. And I think this was a great learning experience for him in a lot of different ways. The Bears were living on the edge all year long.
Yes.
With their ridiculous plus 33 takeaway and 7 comebacks. That's not sustainable. But I think what is sustainable is they surrounded him with some playmakers, and when they need to go, they can go. And they need to be a little bit more aggressive so they don't have to come back all the time. But I was impressed by Caleb Williams and his post-game press conference. I think this kid is grown up a lot in the last year. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, to me, it's all about the arm talent is
insane.
I don't want to say it's second to none because but he's certainly on that short list of guys. Like the throw he made in overtime, like you count on one hand how many guys that have ever played in this league that would even dare to attempt that play and think that they'd have a confidence to even make it. Some of the throws he made the week prior the game against Green Bay, that to me, I thought it was the best quarterback performance of the wild card round. I really did. I know he had the picks and stuff. I just think the throws he was making and the moments he made them against Green Bay, I thought he was phenomenal. He's got to get better in structure. And that's sort of one thing they've got to coach him up a little bit and see if they can get better. But in terms of you get that guy out of the pocket, he's a keyhole thrower. He's a keyhole thrower. And a guy like that, and you're going to ride with it. And he can just do things that other guys can. And, I think they hit on, Colston Loveland I think he's already a top 5 tight end in football. He just moves differently than most tight ends that I've seen. I think Luther Burden, you give him the Roma Dunze targets and plays. I think he'll be your wide receiver 1 next year. Like Ben Johnson is absolutely the guy. And you talk about another guy that maybe, I know you had thoughts on Ben Johnson. Could he lead a locker room? Could he do this? Hell yeah, he can.
Yeah, he can.
Hell yeah, he can. That dude's got a lot of bite to him and a lot of nonsense. And I like it a lot. And you marry it with what he does from a play calling standpoint. I think this has staying power. I think last year Washington was because a lot of people are comparing them to Washington last year. Is this just a flash in the pan? No, I think Washington was pretty obviously way more flash in the pan, and especially with what they did in the offseason by just getting a bunch of old guys who were past their prime, and the second they got injuries, they fell off. It's not like that in Chicago. There's a lot of young nucleus there, and I think they're going to be here for a while.
All right, the Patriots beat the Texans 28-16, and C.J. Stroud throws a career-high 4 interceptions, and it was worse than that. 20 of 47, 212 yards, 1 touchdown, a career-low passer rating of 28, a defense that, Lord, they kept coming back time and time and time again. If he just commits 3 turnovers, I think they win that game. I mean, listen, lots of credit to New England. They're so smart. They play a lot like the old Belichick teams. And Drake May, man, I think the Patriots are in, and I know they played a soft schedule this year, but I think they're in line for a really good run with that group. That being said, the CJ Stroud thing was, I don't know if I've seen a quarterback more checked out. Every close-up shot that they had of him was just deer in the headlights, or even more, or even worse than that, like just expressionless, like nothing, no juice, no nothing. And this guy has been chasing a rookie season that just may have been a complete illusion. And I got to kind of laugh. Did you see Ryan Clark's impassioned?
Oh my gosh. Holy hell, man. That why was he like, he was like yelling at the TV, and he was the only one that like was up there on that panel that was like saying that they need to let CJ go out there and prove it. Like, by the way, I just want to point out they have the same agent.
Yeah. Oh, well, and among other things that they share.
You got the same agent. Just want to point that out there. That seems to be a common theme with the certain quarterbacks and certain players that you see. Even Orlovsky does the same thing. He tends to defend certain quarterbacks who just happenstance have the same agent as his. I wonder why. Yeah, that was.
Well,
that was
I just on this MLK Day, I'd like to say I have a dream. I have a dream that one day Ryan Clark will judge a player not by the color of his skin, but by the content of his 4-interception game.
I think it was just more the agent thing.
I have a dream.
Me personally,
I have a dream.
But point being,
Josh Allen or Justin Herbert, he would have crushed them.
I think the point being, though,
it's just, well, whatever.
Ryan Clark aside, the point being, I think that D'Amico Ryans, I think he effed up here. I can't guarantee you that it was going to get better, but I think you had to save CJ in that moment.
Yeah,
I think you had to pull him. You just had to. You had
it's
to
not
go
like
to
Davis
Mills.
Mills hasn't been playing.
You can't worry about can't worry about the future and what does this do with CJ going. I can't worry about that. I'm playing for a shot to try to go win a Super Bowl, and I have to be in the moment at that time. I can't worry about that.
Your guy was checked out.
Your guy was mentally was gone.
Irresponsible throws. He had 4 picks, and it could have been 8. It could have been 8.
It's not. It's the fumble. I mean, 5 fumbles the week prior. It's like we have never seen. I don't think I've ever seen a quarterback just completely shut down like this in playoff games. And it's amazing because you go back to his rookie year, he just was so calm. He was so composed. All those words we use to describe young quarterbacks and how they're usually really frantic.
Well, he had a great offensive line and was really in sync with his weapons. And we people think, oh, listen, it's a quarterback. He should be able to overcome all the offensive line issues and lack of weapons. And look, even Josh Allen. I mean, everybody wants to jump on Josh.
Herbert, same thing.
Yeah. And Josh, listen, Josh had he did not play well. He had some moment. I mean, some of that one fumble, I don't know what the hell he was doing. The one he threw backwards.
Yeah.
Like what? Was he trying to lateral it? Was it what the F was that?
I think Josh probably took more, and he was obviously very emotional after the game.
Yeah.
He was straight crying because he felt like he let the team down. I think Josh is not dumb. I think he realized that, hey, this team needs me to be at my absolute best for us to have a chance. I just think that's the way the Bills have been living, and that's a tough way to live when you're asking your quarterback to do literally all of the work. And I think he cracked. I think he cracked under the pressure. And I think that was where the emotion came from. I think that, to me, is my theory on Josh Allen at the moment. But CJ, I can't explain why he is just so, like, all of a sudden the most frantic quarterback you've ever seen.
He's broken.
And every pass, it's like he's just, like, scared to rip it, and he's just hoping and praying. That's a bad way to live back there. And so, yeah, I think D'Amico needed to pull him to give themselves a shot. And even it was so evident, too, 5 minutes left in the game, and it was 4th down. They're down by 2 scores, and D'Amico said, you know what? I'm punting the football. I think there's a better shot that my defense goes and makes a play and gets a turnover.
Hell yeah.
Picking up this 4th down. Like, that told you everything you need to know.
All right, let's take one more break, and then when we come back, I want to get into some Lightning a little bit. Seahawks, 49ers. maybe a little bit more baseball stuff going on as well, and your comments. So quick break. We're brought to you by the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source. It's a new year. Great opportunity to head on over to the new men's section that they have at the Gold and Diamond Source. You can get great watches, necklaces, rings. Check it out. Also, if you're looking to pop the question like Nick and I did, we went to the Gold and Diamond Source and got a great ring. And look how it's worked out for Nick. He's about to have a baby. Not him, but Casey. So it worked out pretty well. Got a real diamond at a great place. And now he's having a beautiful, it's a girl, right? We're going to have one girl?
Yep.
Do we have a name yet?
Yeah, we do. Keep it confidential.
That's a boy. So Golden Diamond Source, that's where it all starts, folks. 3800 Olmington Road, always online at goldendiamondsource.com. Back in 3.
JP here for Riveters, our new official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. And just like our show, no BS, no corporate chain feel, just amazing, authentic folks serving great comfort food in a casual atmosphere at unheard of prices. Riveters is located just south of Raymond James and Steinbrenner Field on Dale Mabry, walking distance to the park. So free parking, great place for pregame and postgame. Let's talk about fresh food. Nothing is frozen. Burgers, wings, prime rib, roasted fresh daily, never frozen. That makes a huge difference. The mahi, the salmon, also super fresh. All our sauces are original recipes made in-house. Our Warhawk chili and fully loaded potato soup is made fresh in-house. It's the best food anywhere, served by people who actually care. Riveters on Dale Mabry, just north of 275, just south of where the Bucs and Rays play. We'll see you there. Welcome to Kingmakers, home of the JP Peterson Show studio and Tampa's premier business networking and social club for members only. By day, it's an exclusive, vibrant co-working space with a stylish conference room, focus rooms, a full production studio, and an in-house marketing team. And by night, Kingmakers transforms into a sports-centric social hub with a full sports bar, golf simulator, and exclusive events. For young entrepreneurs and seasoned professionals, it's the perfect place to work hard, play hard, and make big moves in Midtown Tampa. Close the deal, celebrate the win. Only at Kingmakers. Become a member today at kingmakerstampa.com. Your business, your club. Hey, kick off the new year by impressing her with a real diamond, a natural diamond from Gold and Diamond Source. Don't start with a fake diamond, guys. That's a really, really bad idea. And if you're ready to pop the question, find the perfect engagement ring at the Gold and Diamond Source, just like I did, just like Nick did. It is the best selection, the best staff, the best everything. And discover the new Emily collection by Emily Johnson Weintraub, a sleek and modern jewelry line that makes everyday gifts absolutely extraordinary. And by the way, gold prices have never been higher, so turn that old unused gold into cash or a stunning new piece. Just take it on down to the Gold and Diamond Source and trade it in. Lots to get done at the Gold and Diamond Source this new year. Start with an engagement ring from the greatest, the Gold and Diamond Source. 3800 Olmington Road, always online at the Gold and Diamond Source.
It's the love you give only at Gold and Diamond Source.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite.
I love it.
So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at thirdgenerationplumbing.com. They're doing a special right now, $169. You get 2 maintenance visits a year, which is cheaper than the actual one visit. You get that's going to cost you more. Or if you have an emergency call and you got to get your drain line cleaned or something like that, it's going to cost you a lot more than $169. So highly recommend you get the maintenance special. $169 gets you 2 visits, drain line cleans, top off the fluids, all that good stuff at thirdgenerationplumbing.com. They also do AC. And if you're looking for a job, if you're an AC tech or a plumbing tech, they are hiring. They are slammed busy because, of course, they advertise on this show. So go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com. You can put in your resume right there, and they pay well, great benefits, great family business. Since 1995, they've been running this great business. So if you're tired of the corporate BS and you want to work for a great family business with great pay opportunities, a great boss, that's the place to go, thirdgenerationplumbing.com. All right, Nick, you see anything else you want to get to or some comments that you want to bring to light?
I got to scroll through because we got a lot of people arguing about Todd Bowles in the bottom.
Yeah, that always lights him up. Yeah.
It's causing people to go insane. So I'm trying to go to the.
Like we start mentioning every quarterback that threw for 470 against the Buccaneers, we're gonna be doing this all day long.
We're gonna be here for a while at that point. Well, here's a new one. Sergio Biltres said, "Imagine you're John Harbaugh just signed a contract with the Giants to find out afterwards that the Bills' head coaching position is now open, with Josh Allen as your quarterback." Yeah, I remember there was all that stuff going on about how they agreed to a deal, but it wasn't finalized and nobody signed, and it was going on for a while. And I thought it was obvious that Harbaugh was trying to wait until that game on Saturday ended to see what the fate of Buffalo would be, because I know which organization I would attach myself to if I had to pick between the Giants and Bills. But then again, the Bills, to me, bringing back Brandon Beane, not only, by the way, did they bring back Brandon Beane, JP, they gave him a promotion. They gave him a new title. So I got questions about that, but there's going to be interest because Josh Allen is there, period.
Yeah. I mean, clearly Josh Allen is not the issue. It's not. But I don't think Sean McDermott was the issue either. I mean, listen, only one team wins a Super Bowl. And, Sean McDermott, they've had a lot of injuries there on defense. I don't want to make excuses for him, but I don't need to. He's 98-50 as a head coach, as a head with 5 division titles, and he got fired.
I think an organization that could use him right now, because it sounds like he wants to keep coaching immediately. Like, to me, I saw like Tennessee's finalists for their head coaching jobs are Saleh, Hafley, and Matt Nagy. Respectfully, Tennessee, I think Sean McDermott would be a great get for where you are as an organization right now, sort of building, trying to go up. I would much rather take that proven commodity than go down the retread route of Matt Nagy or Robert Saleh. I think that'd be a good spot for McDermott, or Arizona's another one, but we'll see.
Yeah, the Bills get that brand new stadium and Josh Allen. That's not a bad job. That's not a bad.
There's another comment here about the Rays. Talked about them earlier. Michael LaRussa, if the Rays played the season with the roster they have right now, they would be fortunate to win more than 72 games.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think it's gonna be that. I don't think it's gonna be that bad. I don't think it's gonna be that bad. But somebody asked me in here like about the Babby podcast earlier too. I have not gotten a chance to listen to the whole thing. I've seen clips of it and I've read quotes and everything. I would just say, like, it sounds like they are trying to have this aligned when the stadium comes to have the team ready to go by then.
Right.
It sounds like am I on track there about with what he said?
No, well, I thought the Times headline was very misleading because they put in there, in crisis. And a lot of the quotes that Topkin brought out of that, I thought were really, setting up the obvious that what this team is dealing with, and not. If you listen to the podcast, it was first of all, it was done as kind of a business entrepreneur podcast, and the guy that did it is the guy who owns College Hunks Hauling Junk, and they built their business together. And he and Ken have been friends for a long time. Nick Friedman, I think his name is. So it wasn't really like a baseball podcast. It was more like business wise. And I thought Ken was really, really honest and about, the headwinds that are facing the Rays. I mean, it's sharing a stadium that was destroyed. finding a new location and building a new stadium, getting that funded, which along with a $5 to $7 billion mixed use project, the labor situation that's going on in baseball right now, and you have to rebuild your entire television network. I mean, it's unprecedented what they're dealing with right now. But it wasn't this Stu Sternberg, I don't know what we're going to do. It's like, it was just a lot, and I'm really uncomfortable spending this money. It wasn't that. It was like, okay, but we got a great team, and we got a great plan to attack all this, and the opportunity is immense.
He also even like was very transparent and said that, we're going to put up we're going to write a big check for part of this stadium. We've already written a big check to secure this team. And like, he's up front and saying it. So you're not hearing about that stuff. Like, he does say like, yeah, it's going to take a public private partnership and stuff like that, which we all probably knew that was going to happen. But he's not like just saying like, oh, we're broke or anything like that. He's not putting that out there. It's going to take, you just have, I think to your point, like, you got to be a little patient with where they are right now and all the stuff that's happening on the competition side of things. Yeah. This whole labor dispute that is inevitably happening, this work stoppage, I think that plays a big part in how a lot of teams are sort of going about how they're building their ball clubs. And you look at what happened this past Friday with Kyle Tucker going to the Dodgers. That feels like that was the final domino to fall that made everybody go, nope, we can't keep doing this. And it's not, and by the way, it's not a Dodger issue. The Dodgers can do whatever they want. What the issue is they just gave Kyle Tucker $60 million. I love Kyle Tucker. You love Kyle Tucker. We all love Kyle Tucker. He's not a $60 million player.
Soto's not a $50 million player.
That's part of the issue here is some of these teams that can put that money out there and will do it. They're overinflating the value of a lot of these players and making it to where only a handful of them can actually even go and get players.
Exactly. These agents are waiting around. I mean, they're like, hey, eventually the Dodgers will do it because they have $1.2 billion a year in revenue. Eventually,
that's what this felt like. It felt like they were just sitting there, like mild interest in Kyle Tucker. Nobody was taking it. Whatever Boris is doing, and the Dodgers just said, you know what, F it. We're just gonna do it. That's how that felt like it went down.
Well, and the thing about it is they can do it because the level field, the playing field is so not level. See, here's the thing. The Dodgers have, and the Yankees and these big market teams, and they have these great television deals, these local television deals, and own their own television deals. They can spend, like, why the Yankees aren't spending more is a bit of that's crazy.
Yeah, I don't get that one.
Hal doesn't want to spend the money. At least the Dodgers organization wants to spend the money, and they do. Hal could spend it too. There's a lot of these teams.
It just feels like there's three teams that are actually like interested in like doing the big bidding, and it's the Dodgers, Toronto, and the Mets.
Yeah,
it feels like everybody else, like Boston. I mean, people in Boston are going absolutely apeshit right now over their everything because they're not acting like the Boston Red Sox. The Chicago Cubs aren't acting like the Chicago Cubs.
They can do it if they wanted to, and it's become ridiculous. And I think what the Rays are doing is like, look, let's just chill, find out what this landscape is going to be, get our house in order right now. Like all these things that are on their plate. But yet I see tons of people, and I was arguing with them on Twitter all weekend. Oh, it's the same old shit, man. This is just like Stu Sternberg. They have the second lowest payroll in baseball, and this is what we're going to get. They've owned it for 5 minutes, and we've already made 20 years of assumptions about this team. Stu had 20 years to get it right and was never gonna. Ballpark scam after tucking money into his pocket, didn't give a rat's ass, and fooled all of you into thinking he was some type of a real owner that was getting after it. Mo, always blaming the fans, blaming everybody else but himself when he was always the problem. And already we've transferred all that ill will to this. I have people telling me, hey, JP, we're scarred. And when this new group comes in and they don't spend any money and they get rid of players. Hell, Gavin Lux makes more than Josh Lowe. When's the last time we brought in a player? And I'm not thrilled with that move. Don't get me wrong. But when did we bring in a player that makes twice as much as a player that we gave away? Never. So it's at least it's not just all salary dump. and they're not done. Hopefully they'll go add something else. But if they don't, this is all about getting their house in order to move forward. As I point to the Baltimore Orioles, they have a billionaire owner who came in and said, it didn't spend wildly right away. He just kind of got the lay of the land, got the stadium situation and the upgrade to that worked out, and then went out and bought Pete Alonso the next year when he had some cost certainty as to what he was going to make and what he's going to point out. But yet we all want to shit on this group already. And they've been here 4 months and they've done something that took Stu Sternberg 18 years to do. And that's find a location. I mean, my God, can we not give a little bit of patience to these guys? Is this the lineup that I want? No. Is this the roster that I want? Absolutely not. But I'm not going to start making broad-based accusations on this group. And I'm here to tell you, folks, that's not going to help the situation. If you're a Rays fan, get on board and let's support this group instead of crapping on them right away. And a lot of this is coming from, obviously, the Times and the hit piece that they do this weekend on the Ken Babby podcast. You could look at that podcast. If you look at that podcast and say, that's the quote that I want to take out of it, you got to be out of your mind. That's the headline quote. The headline quote is, listen, we got a talented group of people that really care about this community and have deep pockets and have a plan. And I've done this at minor league baseball, and I'm going to get after it in Major League Baseball. That's what I got out of that podcast. It was really, really good. Go watch it. I think you'll like Ken Babby afterwards and feel like these guys are really going to get it done.
Yeah.
I just think have a $300 million payroll and a $3 billion stadium and pay for all of it overnight, which is what you guys want.
I just ridiculous. Think I just think where I'm at with it is would I love if the Rays had gone out in the offseason. Maybe they still will. Things are still happening. Would I love if they went out and added another bat to this lineup? Sure.
Yes.
Of course I would. Does everybody want to win games? Yeah, we all want to win games. Nobody wants to watch a mediocre baseball team. We don't. But the first order of business, the most important order of business because of the failures of the past regime at the moment, and given where hard deadlines are on things and stuff has to happen now, is all about the stadium. Like that, to me, that's where we're at. We're in a unique position where I'm not saying I don't care about the on-field product, because I do. And I don't want to see a team, win 60 games or something like that. And I don't think it's going to be anywhere that bad. There's too much talent around there not for it to be that bad. But I need to get the stadium order in business first. I think that's the right prioritizing where things need to be. And also, side note, they're playing in the Trop right now. They're making the return. I like this little thing they did this past week where they announced that stuff where it used to be the party deck.
Yeah.
And they're making it, turning into that little social club where you get that all-inclusive ticket up there. Like full transparency.
$50 beer, wine, and ballpark fare, all you can eat and drink.
Full transparency. I've never thought about sitting up there before. Never have. And now I kind of have interest in it. It seems like a pretty cool thing they did. So
yeah. And there's going to be a lot more of that. A lot more of that as they get in there and they see the things that they can do. But the thing is,
and who is sad? Who, by the way, into the trade they made past Friday, because I know that happened right as Tucker dropped, so it got buried, rightfully so. Who is sad that Josh Lowe got traded? Is anybody really sad
everybody.
About this?
Everybody. Yeah.
I'm not devastated about that. He's never going to reach his potential. I think he showed that the last couple of years.
What about Lux? How do you feel about Gavin Lux?
Listen,
paying that guy $5 million a year?
Maybe a pipe dream. I would have loved to, Marte. We talked about that for a little bit, but clearly Arizona didn't really have interest in trading him. Is he an upgrade over Richie Palacios at second base? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. We'll see what happens. Yep. He's got some good underlying stuff underneath him. He doesn't fit the profile of replacing. I mean, nobody's gonna. It's hard to replace Brandon Lau's production. Let's just be honest about that.
But we also can't count on 30 home runs every year.
No, and as we said, I think I think some of these trades that have been made is about kind of turning the page from that era of Rays baseball, which the last 2 years was just mediocre. So what's the problem with changing things?
And by the way, have you seen this kid, the second baseman that the Rays have that just won the MVP of the Venezuelan League?
I did. And they got him. What trade did they get him in?
I don't know.
They got him last year in one of these trades.
Yeah. They're making room for him.
And they just signed. They just gave.
next year.
They just gave $3 million, $3.5 million to international signing kid. I think it's like
Shortstop,
the
yeah.
largest they've given out to anybody not named Wander Franco.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's years away, but the Rays have had a lot of success dipping down there before.
I know nobody wants to hear this, but are they getting? Is their eye towards building towards 2028, 29? Yeah. Smart. Let's see where by that time the labor situation will be worked out. It could be a vastly different playing field where you have a salary floor and a cap, where your money can be much better invested than if you do it now. If you go out there and spend big money now, you have no idea what those contracts are going to look like after this labor deal is done. I mean, I see the top numbers coming down and the bottom numbers coming up. I think what you're going to see is a lot more players making $20 million to $25 million a year and a lot less players making $60 million. They'll still have some guys at the top end, but I think it's going to be spread out better across the league and across teams. And that's what baseball needs to stay competitive in this marketplace. And that's better for the Rays, obviously. That's a much better marketplace for them to be in. And they're going to be players again, if they build this stadium in an area where you can get an average of 20 to 23,000 fans a night, you can average, close to 2 million, then you can be a big player, plus the TV markets that you can dominate. You can be a player with all these other teams. And that's where they want, and that shit does not happen overnight, kids. And you don't want it to happen overnight. You don't want them to just start throwing money out there, because it's not an infinite source. You want it to be smart. And this is what I said the other day, Nick. This ownership group, if I were going to advise them, they need to come out and have a press conference with Eric Neander, not just Eric Neander, but the owners, and say, look, this is what our deal is. We're not jumping out there right now spending the big dollars. We got to get all these other things taken care of, and we're going to invest in the future of our players, prospects, foreign-born players, giving out big bonuses, getting ready to really have a great foundation in 28 and 29 when the revenue starts coming in, and we can supplement it with free agents. Like, be transparent about that strategy.
Well, I think
all
they
fans
have
should get on board.
I think they have been transparent because Neander spoke after the Lux trade on, I don't know where he spoke necessarily, but I saw Ryan Bass was putting out some comments from Eric Neander, and I think he basically told you where they're going and where they're heading and trying to get everybody on board. And he talks about how we have new ownership, they're exhausting themselves. He said about securing a permanent home. Talking about the talent underneath, ready to match the excitement for when that comes. And he said, we're building something really special when you look out 3 to 5 years. He basically is telling you right now, and he kind of says right there, we want to make sure we've got a club that can go out there and compete. And if the ball bounces their way, that you're competing for a postseason spot. And I do believe that's a team that can do that. That's where they're at right now. I know that I would love if they were, I would love it. Like I said, I would love if they were spending more and they were really going after it this year, but at least they have a plan, it sounds like, and they're telling you up front what that plan is. I know that we're all jaded because we've been hearing similar stuff for a while, but they're telling you where they're headed.
Right. And I understand some of the skepticism because we've been lied to before. And I get it, but let's give this group a chance. And I know Neander is saying it, but I think it needs to come from the owners. I think that message needs to come from the owners as well, side by side with Neander. Like, this is what we're doing. We're going to wait to see where all this goes out. In the meantime, we're going to build from below and get ready to compete when we fix all this. Because you know what? Until this labor deal is done, it's going to be the Dodgers. That's it. It's going to be the big money teams that are competing until we can get our house in order, which, 20 years of mismanagement, it takes a while. It takes a while to fix this stuff, not only on the baseball level, but we've seen in other walks of life. When things get so screwed up, it takes a while to do it the right way. So let's have some patience. Let's have some patience. All right. Okay. Thanks to all you guys in the comment section. You were awesome. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube page. Just jump over there and say like and subscribe so we can get our subscribers up, and that would really help us. We appreciate you guys. Same on the podcast. Please, if you miss anything, you can always check it out on Apple and Spotify or wherever you get your podcast. Anything else from you, Nick?
Not that we didn't touch on the Lightning, but obviously,
we did.
We're way over, but obviously 13 game point streak. They played the Stars yesterday. I watched the entire game there while I was kind of keeping my eye on that in the NFL game. Love where the Lightning. I can't even find you a flaw right now in their game.
Nope.
I can't find it. The star players are doing their thing. The role players are playing fantastic. The defense is sound. Vasilevsky is just an absolute hammer in net. They're doing this with all the injuries. It's amazing. John Cooper should win the Jack Adams. It's the same stuff we've been talking about the Lightning for a long time. They are in such a good spot right now.
Great organization, and that's how great organizations are run. And I think this new Braves group is very similar. We'll see how it goes. All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. We will be enjoy the national championship game tonight. We will be back tomorrow with more fun and frivolity and wrap that whole thing up. We'll see you then.